What is going on in Los Angeles? There are major protests. People are getting hurt. I do want to warn you in this lesson, you will hear some language that might offend some people. Most of it is blocked out, but you can tell what they are saying. And there is some blood in this newscast. In this English lesson, we are going to watch a newscast about Border Patrol police and protesters having fights. I do want to thank you for clicking on this English lesson. I know there are a lot of English teachers on YouTube, and you chose me. Thanks so much. Today, you are going to learn at least 22 new terms that you might see on the IELTS or you just might hear in regular everyday English conversations. Before we watch that news clip, please go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe if this is your first time here, and let's watch that news clip together.
Tensions erupted near a Home Depot in Paramount as protesters clashed with Border Patrol agents. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf has that story.
A violent clash in Paramount. Protesters face to face with Border Patrol agents. One side hurling rocks and bottles, the other firing back with pepper spray and rubber bullets.
Tensions. They talk about tensions in the newscast. That means feelings of worry or stress between people or groups. Tensions were high when Border Patrol agents met angry protesters in Los Angeles. They also used the verb erupted, and in the picture, there is a volcano, and you may wonder, why is that picture there when we are talking about erupted? Well, that is a verb we often use when volcanoes explode. We could say that they erupted. So let's get the definition here for what erupted means. Started suddenly and strongly. Violence erupted in the streets after agents began arrests in Paramount. Now, in the newscast, they talk about Paramount, California. That's a town in California right near Los Angeles. But we also have the word Paramount in English, so I thought it might be useful for you to know that. Paramount. It means more important than anything else. The most important goal for the agents was detaining people without a warrant. And for both sides, hopefully it was paramount that no one got hurt. A lot of times when people are doing dangerous jobs, they will say safety is the most important thing. In other words, we could say safety is paramount. And in the picture, you can see a worker holding what we call in English a hard hat. So that would be really safe if someone was working in a dangerous situation, but they put on a hard hat. And they also talked about these protesters clashing with police. Let's get the definition for that verb. Fought or argued strongly. Protesters clashed with federal agents on the street outside the government building. And federal is the opposite of state. We have 50 states. They each have their own government, but the federal government is in Washington, D.C., and it controls all of the states. Sometimes state governments do not agree with the federal government, and that is what is happening here in California. We've talked a lot about Border Patrol agents, but let's get the official definition now. People who watch the border and control who crosses. So the United States has two major borders. In the north, there is a border between the US and Canada, and in the south, there is a border between the US and Mexico. The Border Patrol agents wore riot gear and formed a line against protesters. Now, in the last picture, the police were wearing riot gear. You can see they have a lot of protection on, and they even are carrying shields.
Tensions erupted near a Home Depot in Paramount as protesters clashed with Border Patrol agents. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf has that story.
A violent clash in Paramount. Protesters face to face with Border Patrol agents. One side hurling rocks and bottles, the other firing back with pepper spray and rubber bullets.
Here is a good verb to know in English: hurling. Hurling, that means throwing something with great force. And in the picture, you can see that woman is hurling a snowball at the camera. Actually, it's a little tough to see because everything is white, but let's get a sentence using hurling. Some protesters were hurling rocks at agents' vehicles during the clash. We're also going to be talking about chunks of concrete because some of the protesters were hurling chunks of concrete at the Border Patrol agents. And those Border Patrol agents were using pepper spray. Pepper spray is a strong spray used to stop people by making them cough and cry. And in the picture, you can see that there is spray, and I wanted to show you where the name comes from. So there is a bunch of peppers in the corner of that picture. Let's get a sentence using pepper spray. Agents sprayed pepper spray to move the crowd back. And the police or the agents also used rubber bullets. The arrow in that picture is pointing to rubber bullets. Those other things are like actual bullets. They could really hurt somebody badly, possibly even kill them. Rubber bullets are not supposed to kill, they're just supposed to hurt, so people will leave or move back. The official definition for rubber bullets: bullets made of rubber, used to control crowds. In case you don't know what rubber is in English, tires. You know, the things on cars, tires are usually made from something like rubber. When the demonstration got violent, police fired rubber bullets to disperse people, to make them move in different directions.
Sources tell Fox 11 Border Patrol agents Saturday morning were here across the street from Home Depot for a staging area, possibly prepping for an immigration raid. Protesters then moved in.
If you think it's getting out of hand, I'll control everybody right now.
They also mentioned a staging area in the newscast. That is a place where people gather to get ready. And in the picture, you can see the police are using that parking lot as a staging area, probably getting ready to take on the protesters. Agents set up a staging area near the Home Depot before the raid. Now, we will talk about raid in a minute, but the Home Depot is a chain of stores in the United States designed to give people a place to get supplies if they need to fix their house. We call it a home improvement store. Prepping. Prepping. What does that mean? Well, it means getting ready or preparing. Prepping is short for preparing. They were prepping equipment and shields before they entered the building. Now, in that picture, this is becoming very popular in the United States. People will prep their meals for work on Sunday. In other words, they will get everything ready for their lunch on Sunday night. They will put it in containers and then they will bring it to work. So they don't have to make their meals during the week. They prep it all on Sunday. Okay, we talked about raid before. Let's get the official definition. A sudden police or agent visit to catch or arrest people. ICE agents, they work with Border Patrol police. ICE agents made a raid at a Home Depot and detained 44 people. We've talked about detained before. It just means almost like arrested. If someone is arrested, they are detained, but detained means you can't leave somewhere. Maybe you haven't been officially arrested, but the police are asking you questions and you can't leave. Please let me interrupt this English lesson. If you are enjoying this English lesson, maybe you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me to help improve your English speaking skills. Right now, I am offering a 10% coupon. This is good until the end of June 2025. Use the code 10OFF to receive 10% off your private tutoring class. For more information, check out the comment section. There's also a link in the description. Now let's get back to that English lesson.
Sources tell Fox 11 Border Patrol agents Saturday morning were here across the street from Home Depot for a staging area, possibly prepping for an immigration raid.
You!
Protesters then moved in.
If you think it's getting out of hand, I'll control everybody right now.
Local officials speaking with demonstrators.
These are hard-working community members. People are average. That's why I'm here. Because we have to protect community and make sure they have rights like anybody else.
Video obtained exclusively by Fox shows federal authorities trying to leave the tense situation, taking on rocks and chunks of concrete, at least one agent injured.
What if something is getting out of hand? Well, that means becoming uncontrolled or too crazy. The protests started peaceful, but it was getting out of hand when fights began. Take a look at this picture here. We have an old house. Who knows? Maybe nobody lives there anymore, but the trash in the front yard is definitely getting out of hand. They use demonstrations in the newscast, and it is basically the same as protests. Public protest to show what you believe. Many demonstrations happened across Los Angeles after the immigration raids. And during these demonstrations, you can call the people who participate in these demonstrations demonstrators. If you call these things protests, you can call the people protesters. Outreach. Outreach, that means trying to help or connect with people in a community. Local leaders did outreach to calm families and offer support after the raids. Now, in the picture, that police officer is doing community outreach at an elementary school. Police departments will often send their officers to schools so that the kids do not fear the police. In the newscast, they talk about how that news station received a video exclusively, meaning they are the only ones who have it. So exclusively means only, not by anyone else. The story was reported exclusively by local journalists in Paramount. Also, in that picture, we have a couple, and it looks like they are in love. Maybe they're not married yet, but they could be dating each other exclusively. She was dating him exclusively, which means she's not dating anyone else. He is the only guy for her. Taking on. This isn't that different from clashing. It means fighting against or confronting something. The protesters were taking on federal agents near the DHS office. DHS stands for Department of Health and Human Services. They talked about chunks of concrete being hurled at agents. What are chunks? Well, they're large pieces of something broken. In that picture, there are pineapple chunks. Pineapple chunks. Let's get a sentence using chunks. Some protesters hurled chunks of concrete at officers during the clash. And if you didn't know what concrete is, there is concrete being poured. And of course, the concrete will harden. And I'm sure if you get hit with a chunk of concrete, it would hurt. Hopefully, those police officers had shields to defend themselves. Agitators. Agitators. This is kind of another name for protesters, but agitators usually want violence to happen. Agitators are people who try to make others angry or cause trouble. Authorities said agitators joined the protest and made it violent. Yeah, at first, maybe there were some peaceful protesters there. They didn't want any violence, but then agitators joined the protest and then things got out of hand. Firing right back. That means responding quickly with force or action. Police began firing tear gas right back when items were thrown at them. Tear gas and pepper spray are pretty much the same thing.
All right, so we're seeing agitators throwing items towards members of law enforcement right now, and they're firing right back. It feels like a war zone out here.
No matter where you stand, I don't think anybody wants to see families ripped apart, right?
This man also hit by a rubber bullet. What's it like to get hit with one of those?
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. But it's worth it, I guess. If you're here, for the right cause, it's worth it.
Several people pulled away from the crowd and arrested.
So there's a lot of video of people causing damage and destruction.
Federal investigators now combing through video of these protests, promising more arrests.
Just rest assured, the FBI is monitoring everything, and we will find each and every person who damaged and destroyed our federal property or who hurt an officer. We'll come get you. Don't you worry.
Reporting in Paramount, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Combing through, a good phrasal verb to know. That means searching carefully through something. Agents were combing through bags and cars looking for undocumented people. That's another way to say people who do not belong in this country. They are here illegally. Very sad. It looks like this family has lost their home, maybe because of a violent storm. Let's look at this very long sentence together. The family was combing through the rubble, hoping to find important items after the terrible storm. Next, we have rest assured. Rest assured, that means to be sure and not worry. Rest assured. City leaders said they are monitoring the situation closely. If you don't know what monitoring is, don't worry. We'll talk about it next. But how about this sentence? Rest assured, if you study hard, you will continue to improve your English. I mean, you have been watching this English lesson for what, almost 20 minutes? Nice job. Monitoring. Monitoring. This is a verb and it means watching closely over time. Officials are monitoring every protest and will respond if things get worse. In the picture, we have a cafeteria at school. Children are eating their lunches, but there are 3 teachers in that cafeteria monitoring the students to make sure nothing gets out of hand, making sure that those students behave. Congratulations, you made it to the end of another very difficult English lesson. If you are looking for more English, right down there, I have another English lesson about protests here in the United States. Don't forget that code 10OFF if you would like to get 10% off private tutoring classes with me. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.